And I will start with this note saying that I was speaking to this young boy, Sandeep must be about 25, 26. He says from age 14, he says, I have not wanted to do anything else but what I can do for the environment. Amazing. Anjali, keep admitting them. If you don't mind, I will keep talking. Now, today is the World Sparrow Day. In 2010, somebody decided they will declare this as the World Sparrow Day. You go to the Bangalore International Airport, they are trying to see, people feed, food, for instance, waste food, they feed the sparrows. We did what we could some maybe 3 or 4 years ago to see that people avoid this. Then we told the facility managers and other people there, look, don't encourage this, don't get the sparrows to come here and eat that kind of food, because they're used to other kinds of food. They're used to grains. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people used to dry grains on the rooftops and such things. And so there was a nice, healthy ecosystem of birds that were there. We lost all of it, thanks to many things. Now, most of these days, Monday is the World Water Day, March 22nd. These have become ceremonial days. If you look at the number of environment dedicated days on any website, you will probably find about 30 to 32 days, which means what? In every month, you got one event or the other. What is the point in an event? Whenever I'm invited to speak in any of these things, I tell them every day you celebrate as the Water Day. Every day you celebrate as the Sparrow Day. So that is one thing I thought I'll tell you about. The other is that many of you who are newcomers here, good evening, Bob Dylan. He wrote it as D-Y, you write it as D-I-L-A-N, Elena's brother.
Hello, sir. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Nice to have you. So what we told ourselves about 6 or 7 months ago is that there are a lot of good things that the government is doing as far as, conservation of water goes, or what they need to do to supply water to a city and keep the city well fed on water. We also said that there is no way you can solve this city's problem if you keep looking at supply of water. More supply means more public budgets, and it is not going to work. We have to try and see how we can, how we can work this whole situation out in a way that we save first. If you save 1 liter of water, it is as good as about 3 liters of water that you have saved is one thing. The other is that with every liter of water that you save, I will say 1,000 liters because 1 liter is very small. With every 1,000 liters of water, there is about 6 units of electricity that is consumed. But in consuming those 6 units of electricity, actually somebody at some power station is generating 24 units of power. I will not tell you or go into details of how that happens or why that happens. So always it is, in any company also people will tell you, your saving is a better earning than sales. Similarly here, the only way we can solve the city's problem is to see that we save. And we have found with good research that the teams here at WOW Action Forum have done, that we have something like 36 crore rupees that can be saved. 36 crore rupees for every 1,000 crore liters. Now, the city spends or consumes 70,000 crore liters. That means what? You must multiply this 36 by 70. And that will show you about 2,500 crore rupees that we are all wasting. Either the Kaveri Water Supply Board is wasting, or you and I are wasting in our homes. So what can we do about saving? In the very first meeting, Mr. Suresh Pai is here. In the very first meeting in January, he quietly listened to all of this. He's a he's a chartered accountant, a former finance officer. And then he says, look, why are we looking at 1,000 crores? We need to be looking, he says, at 5,000 crores. I said, very good. If that can happen, even better. However, we said to ourselves, we will not change the target that we have set. And this target is 1,000 crore liters. Then the next thing that happened is we said, all right, if we have set 1,000 crore liters, how are we going to go about this? What are we going to do to break this down into the different segments of bulk consumers, apartments, hotels, malls? Do you know, for instance, every time you go into a mall, into a big mall, I can tell you of, say, Orion Mall or the other one, Phoenix Mall in Whitefield. Every time you go into a mall, please understand they spend about 1 lakh liters of water simply for the chiller plant, not for drinking, not for washing, for only the chiller plant. They buy about 1 lakh liters of water every day, and they buy it from where? From tankers. So what do the tankers do? The tankers travel some 20 kilometers or wherever to some borewell where there is water, groundwater. They use a pump. That means they're using energy. They put all that water into a tanker. They bring it to this mall and supply it there. But what happens to that engineer, project engineer or manager? He says, no, sir, it is costing me some 150 rupees, sir. Last time I bought for 120 rupees, sir. So the battle becomes only something about finance and money and not about the environment cost. Some of you, many of you youngsters have understood the environment cost and are slowly beginning to see, your generation is beginning to see that we need to do much, much more than we have done in ours. We have failed. Ask Mr. Mohan Rao, ask Mr. Suresh Pai, ask Mr. Sitapati Rao. Every one of us who are more than 50 or 60, we will admit without shame that we have failed you all as the next generation. How do we now at least do something that we can to mentor you all to take this forward? I will stop here. I will request Usha, would you want to say some one or two things? Because this whole idea, I think first began with Shivananda Prabhu, I don't know if he's here today, who said that children should teach the elders. Children should teach the elders, he said in one meeting in January. Mr. Sitapati Rao said in one meeting, I think two meetings ago, he said, what are we all doing? We are all too old. Let us go and get some youngsters who will bring energy, vitality, and directions to what we should be doing at the WOW mission target 2021 of 1,000 crore liters. So one thing led to another. Last time we looked at how we will reach out to more people. It's very powerful. Today, I know that some of you will have some beautiful stories to tell us, but we can't have only some 40 people or 50 people listening. Good evening, Luke. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Doctor.
So we need to see how we take this forward. You have to guide us. We will learn from you. You are our parents, let us say, in some ways, of the future of water, of the future of energy, or the future of environment itself. I'll stop here. Usha, do you want to say something before we move to Mr. Mohan Rao?
It is nice to see all these young faces.
Absolutely.
We've been waiting for this and we are waiting to listen to them.
Absolutely.
So,
Usha Kini was for 30 years in Doordarshan Kendra. She retired as the director of Bangalore Doordarshan Kendra. We have known each other for 30 years. Somewhere we talked about it and she said, yes, the idea appeals to me. She doesn't know too much about sustainability, but she said, look, if the solutions are available, why are solutions not being implemented? And so she began a journey with WOW Water Mission. She is now the mission director here. About Mr. Mohan Rao. Well, Mr. Mohan Rao and I, as he reminded me, go back to some 20 years. Fantastic man. He was president of Builders Association of India and he has never, ever thought about himself. If you talk about purpose before a person and purpose before self, think of Mr. Mohan Rao. But he has been an utterly foolish man. He will do things very bravely and with sometimes not asking, not securing the right clearances from the government. He was also the head of the Rajiv Gandhi Housing Corporation in Bangalore. He was principal of the BMRTC. So he has worked in the government also. And unfortunately, every time he does something which he thinks is right, which we all know is right, he will be pulled up for something or the other by somebody or the other. He has been a businessman. He has been many multiple things. He has worn lots of caps on that hairless head of his. KL Mohan Rao, he won the Lifetime Achievement Award just last month. The Builders Association of India was gracious enough to recognize the wonderful work he has done so far. Can I request Mr. Mohan Rao to take over, speak a few words about the 5 students he's got there. They're all students of civil engineering, 4th year, from something called the Don Bosco Engineering College in Kengeri, south of Bangalore. Over to you, Mr. Rao.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So, you see, it has been a long journey with Hariharan, say nearly 20 years. I think one Mr. Lucas was in the department of Karnataka, and he used to invite us for all the civil engineering programs. We have been going there. So we were not the backbenchers, but we were the front benchers. Myself, Hariharan, and I think Mr. Shivashailam, today he is retired and a great man. Three of us used to occupy the chair, and we were listening to the government programs. And that is the time we exchanged the cards, and I started visiting Mr. Hariharan and meet his head off. He was sitting in Koramangala those days, exchanged lot of ideas. Then Mr. Shivashailam, he gave his card and said, why don't you come to us? So that was the time. In 2003, we started the civil engineering training program in India. That was the time when our engineers were getting only 2,500 to 3,000 rupees per month. Our maestries were getting about 18 to 20,000 rupees. And I, being the chairman of the Builders Association Karnataka Center, I said, we have to do something about this. And we started the first training program. And we were very successful because Mr. Balavir Reddy, who was the vice chancellor, he took the clue and he said that I would like to give multiple certification for my students. And that's how we entered into the agreement, and all the 30 colleges in Karnataka, they joined us in this whole system. And till date, we have done about 33 programs from different parts of Karnataka. North Karnataka was especially involved with us because they were not exposed to many technologies. So that's how the whole journey started. And we have been constantly working. And most of the students in the initial stage, they did internship in Mr. Hariharan's project, Z-Earth in Whitefield, and we also went to the other part, that is, I think, on the Chikbalapur area, where recycling of water, recycling the solid waste management, that was a major thing. I was fascinated with this man, and he was talking about, giving a restriction for the residents in the Whitefield, saying that you have to use only bucket water for cleaning your cars. You cannot use running water. He also had designed something, the refrigerator. Usually what we do, I've got a refrigerator where we open the refrigerator by left hand. I'm sorry, I think right hand we open and then keep the door open and then we take out the vessel, keep it inside. He had designed for his Z-Earth people a refrigerator which can be opened by the left hand and you can, remove all the things and immediately close. So that much of concentration on wastage of energy. So this is where I was fascinated, and I have been with Hariharan. We have been talking, meeting, doing a lot of programs together. So commercially, both of us are very bad. We have never earned money out of these things. So he said, foolish man, because I don't make money. So I have been doing it only for the passion, and I would like to contribute to our future generation, and I think I have. So
Sure.
Still, now from past 2 years, Don Bosco has signed an MOU with me, and their children are coming. Last year, we did the program of water conservation, recycling of water, sewage management, and those 5 students, 3 students immediately got employed in Haryana. They finished their exams on Saturday. Monday, they flew to Haryana and doing this thing. So
this is what you have found as a as the most inspiring thing among children? Another 1 or 2 minutes. After that, we will get the boys and Pooja to speak. What have you found the most inspiring or interesting thing about youngsters that you have worked with?
You see, my experience with the North Karnataka students, it was something extraordinary. They were ready to work anywhere in India. You know, in my form, I will ask where you would like to work. So there is to say anywhere in India. So those days, you know, we had some tie-up with Afghanistan. Will you go to Afghanistan? Yes, sir. So that part of the place, you know, the Raichur belt and all those things where there is no water.
Sure, sure.
The hard workers, they will say, yes, we'll go anywhere. So that was something extraordinary. But here in Bangalore, unfortunately.
What have you found in terms of their, their understanding of the environment or commitment to wanting to do? What have you found some inspirational stories there?
Yes.
Anything that sticks in your mind after 10, 15 years of training?
See, those people I'm talking about as Raichur belt and all those things, always short of water.
I know.
Always short of water.
Sure.
And we talk about this subject, they jump into it and they will start working with it.
Sure.
We would like to go back and contribute whatever we learn from them.
Okay, right.
That's something extraordinary. You know, I had a person from computer engineering from Davangere. He was with me last year also during the COVID year. So we were talking about this rainwater harvesting. We were talking about so many things. And, you know, we went throughout Karnataka doing assessment work for the labor board. And that is the time question answer sessions and all those things. He designed all answers. And now he has gone back to Davangere and he is working in the fields because he has not got employed.
Okay. Great. Yeah, happens. I know.
We are going to give a direction to these people.
Right.
They will go and implement, and whatever is your dream, they will do it in their village, in their own blocks. So I think work together.
Great.
And more direction.
Can we invite your team to speak now?
Yeah. So
okay. Who do you want?
I have got 7.
Who do you want to invite first?
So I think the team leader, Srinivas, he will talk.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, I'm from Don Bosco Institute of Technology, and I am pursuing my 4th year in BE Civil Engineering. Today, I wanted to generally discuss about the Bangalore wastewater problems, what we are facing, what are the water problems, and what are the untreated wastewater, how it is damaging our Bangalore water beds. Generally, we need water every day. As oxygen is very important, water is also very important, and we need water for every purpose of our work in day to day. So, as the consumption of water is more, the waste produced will be also will be almost similar of quantity. Similar quantity will be produced. Okay, so we have to rethink because for Bangalore, if we consider Bangalore, the major source of the water is from Kaveri.
Srinivas, they are all experts. They all know the problem. You tell us what you think you want to do if you have given the opportunity by some of these older people here. What do you want from them in order to that you are guided to do?
So basically, I have 2 points, sir. First one is I have to make sure every public will accept the treated water, sir. Basically,
okay.
For some mindset, they will not accept the treated water is good for health. So we have to make ensure that they get understand.
Okay.
We have to create awareness, sir.
That is first point. Second
point is we have to start individual houses, sir. Basically, individual houses, sir. Rather than discussing about investing a large sum of amount in the wastewater treatment, we can use small quantity of amounts and we can start from our own house, sir.
Absolutely. Have local solutions, you are saying.
Yes, sir. We have to start from our individual houses, and for every houses we can get some of the amount of water which is
okay. Srinivas, if let us say you are going to an apartment tomorrow morning to some resident welfare, RWA, Resident Welfare Association you're going. How do you convince them that water can be treated to a level where it becomes pure, purer than Kaveri water, purer than your borewell water, and that they can drink it? How do you convince them?
Sir, basically we have, as per now, considering in 2021, we have some examples in other countries or other nations where they have treated the water and they are using for drinking and every purpose they are using, sir. We can consider Singapore as an example, sir. How they have transferred the wastewater to the completely usable water, sir. So we can make them aware, sir. We can also treat the water like this way. We can also treat water, we can reuse it, and side effects will be less.
Also, Srinivas, you know very well that there are many apartments in Bangalore who don't even have an STP.
Yes,
They don't want to do it. They are willing to pay a penalty. In Yelahanka, there is an apartment which pays a penalty of 2 lakh rupees for 400 flats. They are saying, sir, we will pay penalty, but we will not set up STP. How do you convince them?
Sir, generally we have to create awareness between, by grouping all the apartment residents, sir. And we should also write some letters to the government, sir, so that they can implement through government. If they have to, they will compulsory follow it, sir. We have to.
Right.
We can also take the help of the government officials and we can implement it, sir.
Agreed with you. In fact, I will guide you to some PCB officers who are willing to send a notice. If an apartment is defaulting and you are able to find out which apartment is defaulting, I can tell you that there are people here who are apartment federation members who live in apartments where they are not able to get the apartment to put in an STP. In JP Nagar, there is a very large one, 800 flats, Brigade Millennium. They don't even have an STP. They are violating. All right. Now, we will introduce you to such people. And then we will introduce you to people. Will you then therefore volunteer and work with our WOW mission people? Mr. Suresh Pai is here. He has been saying, he is the chairperson of the action group for apartments. He has been saying, please give me youngsters who can go out and, bring such things to our notice. Will you work with such people, Srinivas?
Please to work with this, your team,
Wonderful, wonderful. Pooja. Yeah, go on. Finish. No, Srinivas, last sentence. Go on. You want to say something?
And if we start working, sir, and some more youngsters will join us, sir. Seeing our work, they can also join. They will also join. They
Absolutely.
and they will also join, sir.
Wonderful. You're right. Yes, Pooja. Srinivas has been very inspiring. You tell us what you want to tell us.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
As you said, it should start from single house. But how do you start? How do you influence people? Whether you go door by door to influence people, but they won't do. Even from government, people will not follow all the rules what government is doing. How will influence? I had an idea, like you approach some schools, colleges. You influence the students there only. In every house, there will be each child. Now I saw one child, like 10 years old. He has influence. How he got the idea from the school or others? If you start influencing students or people from starting from school or colleges, in colleges, rather than doing internships in already built buildings, even the own project, construct it in your own house only. Do it in your own house. This is your project. Then people will get influenced for something is happening. They'll get influenced by that way, sir. Rather than approaching everyone door by door or influencing people, I think in every house they'll listen to their children. They'll know, oh, my child is doing something innovative. Let them help us. They'll like that they'll implement anything, sir. So if you start influencing children, students in colleges and in schools only, it will be an easy way, sir.
Excellent, fantastic. You will be willing to work with the WOW mission people to see that we are able to go to more children in schools and in colleges? Yes? Wonderful. Thank you. Arun, please speak. You have anything more, Pooja, to add? Please. You have anything more to say?
Then, sir, as I influenced, I got this idea, sir. Because in our college, in Nadagoda, sir, he uploads some programs. So we got to know these all the things are having in civil engineering. We were like only the book form, only the formulas, only the solutions. We were not knowing all those things what happening in the construction. In the same way, if you approach the students in this way, what you are doing, how to recycle. So do it in your own house only. Make it as a project. Like then they'll influence, so even parents won't oppose, even people won't oppose. Yes, my child is doing something innovative. Let them help us. They'll do so.
Correct. Absolutely. Do something innovative. Very nice. Very nice. We will definitely work with you. Rao sir will also help us. Over to Arun. Arun, you want to speak next?
Yeah, already.
Okay.
And combined, sir, we will work
Oh,
forward.
wonderful, wonderful. So Anjali, who is going to speak next? Shall we ask Elena or Dylan to speak?
Actually, me and my brother will be saying a speech. Will be like differentiating different parts.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome to all.
Yes.
We all feel that water must be saved. So without inconveniencing ourselves, the best way to do so are to use aerators. So what are aerators and what does it do? Aerators reduce flow of the water by combining air and tap water, saving up to 50% of water.
Aerators use air to intersperse with water and make it spread wider, thus using less water. In normal tap, major portion of the water is wasted. We collected water from three taps for 10 seconds. The first tap delivered 12 liters of water, second tap with the foam aerator delivered just one, and the third tap with the spray aerator delivered just 30 milliliters. However, under all three taps, time used is just 10 seconds. Second tap saves 50% of the water, and third tap saves 75%.
The aerator is
Elena, I'll stop you there. You know, I know you have a nicely written down text and you are trying to see that you're organized in what you want to present. But let me ask you your experience, both of you, you can speak. The first time you heard of an aerator, what were your thoughts? What happened?
The first time I heard of it when I was asked to give a speech about it. First, I didn't know what it was. Then I will later got to know that it was like helping to save water, and I had to do a event about that with my brother. So then I got to know even more about it, and we bought an aerator, and it's currently in use right now. So it was very
Nice.
good because it saved water, and it's not being wasted for unnecessary reasons.
So
So.
that first time, Dylan, when you saw, that you opened the tap and the aerator was helping you save water, what happened in your mind? What did you think?
Well, the first feeling was that the water feels much more lighter because obviously air is mixed in it, and it felt like less water was being used, delivering mainly the same effect if you were to wash your hands. So when I first used it, I thought this seems good. It's working fine. I think it fits the purpose. It's cheap. It's inexpensive. It is very cheap. It's very
Nice.
easy to use. So definitely, I was surprised when I first used it.
Elena, I heard from some of the people who stay in your apartment that you are saving as much as 7,000 liters a day. When it was 45,000 liters earlier, they say per day, it has become 38,000 liters. Now, what is the 7,000 liters? And when I say, let us say, 1,000 crore liters, do you understand what that 1,000 crore liters can mean for the city?
The amount of water being used or
Yes.
wasted.
This is no, we are talking about, well, if you talk about wasted water, we are talking of 35,000 crore liters. Very, very big number. So how do we talk about it in a way like you saw the aerator and it made an impact on you? How do we go and tell people, hey, you have to put this in order to not simply save water, but to save 35,000 crore liters? How do you say that? Can you tell us how you will do it? Can you guide us?
Well,
In simple
first
ways.
they have to know that how much water is being wasted,
Hmm.
because without water we can't live. So that they have to understand how much water means, and only after then can they know like that they need to start saving water. and start using aerators so that the water is used in for properly and it's not being wasted. That's the first thing that they have to know.
Sure. Yes, Dylan, you want to add to that, to what your sister says?
Well, if it was a simple way, you could take the example if, let's say, today we start, like every citizen of India starts saving 1 liter. By the end of the day, we're saving almost 130 crore liters. So if you think of it in that perspective, if just one person saves the water, it's not going to make such a big difference. But
Brilliant.
if everybody chip in, it's going to make a big difference. So if people
Absolutely.
could think like that, it would help a
Absolutely.
lot.
In fact, if you take Bangalore, you're brilliant, brilliant, Dylan. You're right. You're helping us. You are teaching us. You know, if you take this city, Bangalore, we are about 1.2 crore people. That means what? If I take Dylan's example, instead of say 1 liter, I say 2 liters we save. 1.2 crore people save 2 liters, 2.4 crore or 2.5 crore liters per day. And you multiply that by 365 days, that will show 1040 crores or so. I did the arithmetic one day. You know, Dylan is right, absolutely right on what he's saying. Please listen to the rest of them as they speak, Elena and Dylan. To the rest of you, I must tell you that Elena is the older one. Dylan is the younger brother. Okay. All right. Anjali, who speaks next? Or are you going to show that little film of that young boy called, yeah?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a small question for
Yes.
Elena.
Yes.
Yeah, you have spoken about the aerators. Do you have any preconditions before fitting an aerator? If there is a precondition, have you seen what it is? So that the aerator works without any problem, maybe for a year or 6 months. Did you ever have any problem of the aerator is not delivering as much water as you have been getting it maybe 6 months ago?
Well, not actually, but sometimes it does become loose on the tap, and it kind of like the water just comes out, a lot of it. So sometimes that's the problem.
You didn't have any sort of reduction in the volume of water coming out from the tap? Did you ever think, oh, there is some problem? Yesterday I was getting a full blast water through aerator, of course. Today I'm getting less. Have you ever thought what the reason could be? Probably, if you have not thought of it, please find out from your elders who has installed a system, probably some sort of a filtration. Where is the filter? Is it the outlet side? Is it the inlet side? So you should also have in mind the possible maintenance issues which are likely to arise when you are trying to propagate something. So you should have a solution for somebody asking a question like what I have asked you just now, right?
Sure. Over to you, Anjali. Will you take over and give us that film or whatever is the next in the list?
Yes, so there is this film of another young boy
Wonderful.
who has like saved water with
What
help
is
of
his name?
aerators.
Rishabh, right?
Rishabh, yes. So I'll be sharing my
It's a
screen.
very short film. This boy is no more than about, let us say Elena's age or Dylan's age. I think it's about 1.5, 2 minutes. Let's listen. We found it very inspiring, so we thought we would share it here. He could not be physically present, therefore he gave us this film. Go on, please.
Yes.
Get the audio also, right? Yeah. Get the audio slightly louder, Anjali.
Is the audio not clear?
It has to be louder.
Okay, just a minute.
A normal tap would approximately use 12 liters of water per minute, whereas an aerator uses only 0.5, all the way up to 6 liters of water per minute.
No, thanks, Anjali. We just thought we will show you one clip of it, one part of it. Elena, do you want to respond to what Rishi was saying? Because he's doing exactly what you all are doing. And he has taken it to a few more buildings thanks to some elders who have supported him or found him those buildings. Want to say something, Elena, before we move to somebody else?
Well, I think it's like very weird that someone at this age would try to do something so big, because like it's such a small thing. Maybe like a lot of elders believe kids can't make a change. It's just small people. So it's so like wonderful that he was able to get people to help him to save more water.
Absolutely. Who says kids can't make a change? Do you want to say something, Dylan, before we move on?
Well, nothing much. Was just very inspiring. He
Very
got
good.
invited to such a big organization, especially UN. So yeah, definitely a good impact. He created a good impact on society, definitely, on how you
Sure.
could save water and how he was mostly successful in his
Absolutely.
pursuit.
Lovely. Sure. Anjali, back to you. Yeah.
Yes, so there's another young boy named Tanmay. He has also been doing some work.
Absolutely. Tanmay is about 10 or 11. He couldn't be here today again, unfortunately, so we are putting up a clip.
Yes, he's shared a short clip of himself.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, here it goes.
First of all, my apologies that I couldn't meet you all wonderful people out there of WOW, World of Water Action Forum. And also thanks to Usha Madam to give me a chance to address you all. Let me introduce myself. I am Tanmay Kothari, studying in grade 5 at Bangalore International Academy, Jayanagar. During the lockdown period, I happened to design, or rather say redesign, a water saving aerator for taps. Now, water saving aerators aren't new, but my goal was to make a aerator at a very low cost so it even reaches common people. My contribution to this product was just the thought. Major credit goes to my dad's friend, Mr. Vinod Gupta. He who had a lot of patience to listen to me and design and manufacture the product. And of course, give me the product cost to cost. In future, I would like to be actively associated with this forum and contribute with your mission in all possible ways. Thank you, and let's all remember it takes a lot of blue to stay green. Let's save water and save our generations to come. Thank
Thank you, Anjali. Let me ask Pooja. You heard Tanmay, you heard Dylan and Elena. What do you think these kids are doing who are at least 10 years younger to you, or maybe 7, 8 years younger to you? I shouldn't ask your age anyway. Pooja, what do you think? Go on, speak.
Yeah,
Please.
at these ages, we were like only play, go to school, and eating. Yes,
Absolutely.
but nowadays, children are growing like nothing. So that's what I said. Like seeing these people, how they got influenced by school or by something. We need to influence more children like this so that they can implement or innovate something more like this.
Sure. That's why I asked you, because you said what you did in the beginning about school children, and these are guys who are all right there on the edge of things. They're understanding what they need to do. Like Elena said, or even Dylan said, it's inspiring, he said, to see that somebody is not just doing this, but he's scaling it at 10 million liters. In fact, this mission program, if you say 1,000 crore liters, if I convert it in millions and billions, it is 10 billion liters. That is, it is 10,000 million liters, if I were to go by, that math. So the point is, like she said, like Elena said, who says, she says all these adults have this challenge. They think kids can't make a change. What do you say to that? No. Elena said, that adults think that kids cannot make a change. What do you think?
It's not the right thing. Everyone can change the world, sir. Everyone has that ability to change. Not like only the elder people, only the children. Everyone has their own ability. It's It's about to explore their ideas.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I will turn to Anjali, if you will permit me, I will turn to this young urban planner, regional planner called Sukanya Chatterjee, who is going to be speaking to us from Durgapur. She did her master's in urban planning from the School of Planning and Architecture in Bhopal. Sukanya, are you there? Can you unmute and speak, please?
Yes, sir, I am here. I'm here.
Go on. Please share with them all the thoughts that you did the other day with us. You were inspiring. I must again say that when I heard you speak. You are all of 25 or 26 years old. Please speak to these younger children here, as well as these civil engineering students who are clearly younger to you. They are all maybe 4 or 5 years younger to you. Go on, please.
Okay. So as sir has introduced me, my name is Sukanya. So I'm an architect planner. So I am very passionate about studying application of behavioral sciences in the urban domain, whatever issues that come up in urban challenges. So I am very passionate in solving it in the looking at through the perspective of behavioral sciences. So today I'm going to share with you a small example, a small rather a case study, and I'm going to show you talk to you in terms of behavioral science theories and see if that makes sense to you. So first of all, I want to talk to you about cognitive dissonance. So what is dissonance? So cognitive dissonance is a situation involving conflicting attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. So this produces a feeling of mental discomfort. But you know that you are in the state of a mental discomfort, but you still accept it as the behavior. For example, when you smoke, so you know you're not doing a right thing, you might have cancer, but you still accept it and you still smoke. So in the climate change and the conservation and in this fighting for the better earth, we see a lot of this attitude that people actually know that what I'm doing, what my actions are harming the environment, but we still see that they are not very active or they're very reluctant to change their behavior. So what we'll see is a possible solution to this kind of behavior, rather, is what we call nudges, or rather green nudges in this particular case. So, if people have this a phrase called "not in my backyard." If it's something is not happening in my backyard, it doesn't concern me. So, for example, we all know Bangalore is running out of water. Many cities in India are. Madurai is an example. I've been to Madurai. I've seen the horrible conditions they face. So, but then people are very reluctant to do something. People are very reluctant when you tell them, you need to use less water. They still think that government is providing me water. Water is my right. So why would I change it? So it is something that we have grown accustomed to throughout the years, and it's a behavior that is very hard to change. So now I'll tell you this particular very inspiring man, Nobel laureate of economics in 2017, Dr. Richard Thaler. So he introduced this theory of nudging. So what is it? It is basically a system of choices. You present choices in a way that you get the desired behavior by putting it into a certain way that it will help you to achieve your goal, but the person that you're trying the behavior to change, they won't feel that it is a restrictive matter. So let me just give you an example first. So in the city of Cape Town in 2015, they ran out of water. So it's a very grim situation. Everybody knows that they have no more water to look forward to, and the situation is pretty horrible. So, the Cape Town authorities, the municipal bodies and the government bodies, they got very innovative in the sense that they worked with researchers to see if they could change the behavior of the people so that they use less and less water, they conserve more water. So, what they did? They, in their, when the consumers, they sent their water bills to the consumers, to the citizens of the city, they included a pamphlet. What pamphlet? they said, see, you are using this much amount of water, but here is your neighbor using less amount of water. So what that happened was, what that made was, whenever you are, you're compared to some of your peers, some of your classmates, or some of your neighbors, or something like that, you get this, this person is doing better than me. So what should I do? I should also try. Or even if, like, for example, if I am doing better than my neighbor, that gives me a positive reinforcement that, I am doing better, so I must keep this up. So they did this experiment for quite some time, and they said they've seen significant amount of change in water habits, change in water use habits. So earlier, as sir has said in the beginning, we are trying to see that if we could save like 2 liters per person, what their target is. Their target now is 50 liters per person. You can check it. It's in the website. It's in the, you can
Cape
Google
Town
it.
is a very, very small population. They are 4 lakh people, 400,000
Yeah.
people. They are about the size, they're about 500 square kilometers, about the size of Mysore, let us say. I mean, as a land area goes, Mysore is today twice the population, at 1 million. I mean, the media wrote about it. Everybody said Cape Town has a big crisis, but Cape Town doesn't have a crisis. We have a crisis. Sao Paulo has got. Bangalore is the worst in India today. We have water at 1,500 feet. Mr. Suresh Pai, who is sitting here, he is telling me recently, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, he's saying, and to this is to you all, Dylan and Elena and Pooja and Srinivas and Arun and all of you. You know what Mr. Suresh Pai says? He says, and he's been talking to quite a few people in these resident welfare associations. He says, basic problem, as I see in apartments, is that a handful of people, some few people, resist long-term solutions and prevent solutions from within as committee members and such things. How do we address that, Sukanya?
So, sir, what we see is in many sectors, social sectors, what we see is if we put something as a command and control measure. So, if we put out a rule, for example, that you have to do this, so
Right.
you are made it statutory. So you're
that's what
forced to do
Srinivas
something.
was saying in the beginning. That's why
Yeah.
Srinivas said, you please bring some government people who will bring a stick and say,
Yeah.
this is a regulation, this is a notice.
Yeah. So once that happens, for example, if you force people, for example, if you say people, you need to use less water, and you put a regulation to it, people will feel restrictive. They will resist to that. They will be seeing like, this is not how this works. I mean, government is supposed to provide me with water.
Absolutely.
So government is the provider for it. But no,
Fair
government
enough.
is the facilitator of services.
We heard you. What you're saying is that we have to nudge these little actions gently, quietly, give them solutions that work, and then take them towards bigger targets.
Yes.
How would you achieve, therefore, in a city of 25,000 apartments? Bangalore city has 25,000 apartments approximately. We have, as Dylan was also saying, we have 1.2 crore people. Multiply that by 200, you got therefore 2 billion liters of water every day that is needed, right? How do we attack this problem? What do you think we should do at the apartment level?
I think in case of residents, particularly in residential areas, so in apartments and things like that. So what helps is this is a very slow moving solution. You have to check and you have to experiment with it. For example, you can start by selecting a group of apartments, and you can run this with their water bills, and saying putting a badge or something that you did this, you did great in this month, you saved a lot of water. So see if that makes a behavior change, and then maybe proceed to making it large scale.
Mr. Satish Kumar, I assume you are Satish Malya. If you are, I think you should respond to what Sukanya Chatterjee is saying. Would you do that? Because you represent, or at least you are some kind of a spokesperson for about 48 apartments. Could I request you to speak, Satish Malya? No, he's not there. Okay. Never mind. Thank you, Sukanya. We will come back to you. I mean, we are trying to track thoughts. We are trying to see what we can learn from all of you who are youngsters in a way that we are able to make this mission more powerful. Anyone else who wants to? Anjali, who is next on that list that we have? I thought we had Mr. Vinod Ramakannan. I do not know if he has come in. Vinod, are you there? I'm not seeing you on that participants list. Okay. Okay, he's not there. Then I will turn, therefore, now to Mr. Suresh Pai. As I told you all, Mr. Suresh Pai, can I request you to speak now? Is it all right for you?
Yes, yes,
Wonderful.
sir.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Good evening. Before he speaks, let me tell you of what he has been doing in about the last 3 months. We invited him to set up an action group. This is the action forum. A forum is for all people to come in, to listen, to be excited, to be inspired, to then see what you can do to join action at the action groups. And he immediately, without any hesitation, said that he'll be happy to lead it. And so we had Mr. Suresh Pai come in, and slowly we had a few more members who are all committed to the public purpose of seeing what we can do to solve this challenge that Bangalore has got. Today he has, I think, about 7 or 8 members in the action group. Yesterday he had his 3rd meeting, and he is driving a sub-target of the 1,000 crore liters, a sub-target of about 250 crore liters. In his group, he has got people like Satish Malya, who is part of the North Bangalore region, which has about 48 apartments, I believe, as members of what is called the Bangalore Apartments Federation. Over to you, Mr. Suresh Pai. You heard all these, young and old children from 10, 11
Yes.
years that Dylan is, to somebody at 14, 15, Elena, and then to these kids at 20, 21, and Sukanya at about 25, 26. What do you think? Where should we go?
They have given very good idea of water conservation. In fact, if you really hear our Mr. Shivanand Prabhu, who has been propagating the idea of children teaching the adults, it actually started at Century Saras.
Right.
In fact, we made a presentation in 2019 about water aerators in Bangalore.
Right. But as a thought, what do you think this is leading us to doing into the next few months? Doesn't matter where it began. What does it tell us? When Elena says, well, all you adults, you're wrong if you think that kids cannot make a change. What would be your response to that? And how do we therefore use this energy? How do we guide them while we learn from them?
Yeah, there is actually water is a scarce commodity. This message, if it reaches everybody, I think they will go a long way in ensuring that whatever the compliances, whether it is rainwater harvesting, STP or water aerators or water meters,
sure,
everything will be done. Funds, I think, is a last option, because there are problems of funds in many associations, which they give last priority. But in fact, every year they must set aside some portion of the funds for water conservation.
Do you see a parallel between, let us say, what Mr. Sitapati Rao was saying, what you are saying today? That is, as adults, what happens to us is, first we see the problem. We don't see the promise or the prospect. These kids are seeing the promise. They're seeing the prospect. They don't want to know the problem. They want to solve it without understanding what the challenges are. I think there is a very healthy difference there. I mean, in the ways that they look at it. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, the children need to be told about the problems future.
Or adults need to be told not to recognize the problems and to look at the prospects. Which is better?
Yeah, the second one is the better.
There is a youngster here, 25-year-old or 26-year-old, Sandeep Gali. He's from Ballari, but he's here in Bangalore today. Sandeep, can I request you to to unmute and to speak? You heard all of them. I know you've been there from the beginning. Sandeep Sandeep, are you unmuting and saying hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are. Wonderful. You're there now. Now, before he speaks, let me tell you about him. This boy says that from age 14, can you mute please the others? From age 14, he did not want to do anything else but work on the environment. He speaks to me some time ago and he says, look, you tell me what I should be doing. And he speaks with a certain conviction. I won't say commitment today, I will say conviction. You heard all of them, Sandeep. Please speak. Give us your response. What do you think we should do?
Well, firstly, anyone who says that kids can't do anything should just Google Greta, because they should already be building a statue of her.
Sure.
Secondly, these are just like free thoughts. These aerators, right? Can someone explain me how they're produced? Like, do
That's
we
okay.
use plastic or what kind of?
It's
Because
plastic. It's
why
plastic
I'm
and a bit
thinking,
of
why I'm
alloy.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So the thing is, sir, to solve a problem when we can't be producing more waste, use more energy.
Sure.
Right. So the number one sort of philosophy should be prevention is better than cure.
I agree
Because
with you,
when you
but
go
what do you
cure,
do? Give us a solution.
right now I don't have solutions,
Okay,
but
fair
that's the
enough.
thing.
Fair enough.
It's just the ideas that we can sort of maybe
I
choose
got
the
that.
direction
For
to go
instance,
in.
solar panels produce a lot of wonderful energy, but all data today indicates that in the making of that one panel of say 1 square meter, you have already used up 25 years of resources of the world that you are likely to save over those 25 years of the solar system functioning. I don't know where the arguments are spurious or genuine. So you as the future of the country, I'm not going to be there for more than 10, 12 years. What do you think you should be doing in a way that India 2050 is more balanced?
Well, firstly, I think Sukanya was talking about this, where we like not just Sukanya, I think the other
Sure.
civil engineering kids
Go on.
targeting these, like smaller areas, like maybe decentralized solutions.
Sure. Correct. Local
Like
solutions.
if you can start at your own home,
Right,
start at
right.
your own area, neighborhoods, and then form sort of a decentralized network. If everyone can take care of themselves, then I think everyone would be like, great.
I'm glad you said decentralized. 1970, Alvin Toffler wrote about decentralized. First time somebody used the word decentralized. But we haven't learned anything after 50 years. Great. Anyone else who wants to speak now? Open forum. Anyone can speak now, unless Mr. Suresh Bhai, I interrupted you somewhere. Sorry about that. If you do want to add some thoughts, you could do that. Then we can ask Vikas Brahma to speak.
No, one thing which I was just thinking about on a macro level is the interlinking of rivers, which has been talked about.
It's a terrible idea, Mr. Suresh Bhai. Terrible idea, and I will tell you offline, and I will tell all these youngsters another day as to why we should not tamper with nature. We can't do such things. They are horrible ideas. India has been thinking of the Garland Canal from something like, say, 1979, as I know it. And then later Narasimha Rao came and said he also, thought about making this. This other guy, Chandrababu Naidu, came in 2002, and unfortunately for us, he connected to the Krishna to the Godavari. That Doab was connected. We can't play with nature. We can't arrogate to ourselves the power of dealing with nature like that. It's an unfortunate plan. We'll have to leave it there. These children are right. These children are thinking right. These children are saying, don't look at the problems. Look at how you can solve them at the localized level. I'm very glad Sandeep caught on to what Srinivas said in the beginning, how it is local solutions that will work. Pooja also said that. Intuitively, these children, without knowledge or experience, they are thinking the right things is all I will say. Sorry, I had to say this a little strongly, Mr. Suresh Bhai. You'll understand me. I know you're a very humble person and you're always quick to such knowledge.
No, actually,
Good
Jalashakti
evening.
Mission. There is a Jalashakti Mission.
Yeah.
Jalashakti Mission. I think they are talking about interlinking of the waters,
No,
rivers.
we can't. Yeah, interlinking of rivers is a very,
So
very
even though it
idea.
is a long-term project, in fact, the late President of India, Dr. Abdul Kalam, also suggested the interlinking of rivers.
Suresh Bhai, I will talk to you, but I will certainly show you numbers of very, very well authenticated research data which will show you we should not pursue such thought. Not just in this country, anywhere in the world. Simply because if Abdul Kalam did say something like this, sometimes we are all human, we make mistakes. Does not matter. Somebody was trying to say something.
Yes.
Mamta.
Good evening. This is Mamta here.
Yes, Mamta.
As I have written, I'm a proud dealer of farmland
Okay.
rainwater harvesting system.
Sure. Okay.
My late husband had the expertise of doing rainwater. Mr. Vijayaraj will tell you that.
Sure.
He also used to do a lot of natural based lakes, ponds.
Can you tell us what we can do into the future?
Yes, I definitely would like to, as a homemaker, as well as I have been in energy efficient lighting system from 20 years now. And the rainwater. One thing I would like to suggest is, which everybody can take it up, I have been trying to See, most of the commercial buildings, they are just doing an eye wash for the water conservation.
Sure.
I think as a consensus, we should start with that. And also we should all,
Can I
I feel, you know,
therefore, with all your
the kharab
lovely
lands
ideas,
are there, no? Kharab lands, sir, I don't have the reach there. But if the kharab lands in areas can be converted into a beautiful rainwater storing place where and make parks up there, it will be very good. This needs to be done in a very big way, because I saw it in Akshay Nagar, where the water is just gushing in that kharab land. There is a certain portions of lands which is not nobody's land.
Sure.
But those lands can be converted beautifully into a rainwater harvesting ponds and walk areas, parks, children park.
Sure.
And I do agree, sir, that I do agree with everybody. Children are the best people to convey, because their ideas are so fresh and they are very practical. Nowadays, children ideas are very practical ideas, and parents do follow them. Thank you.
Thank you. And can I request you to, I'm glad that, Vijay Raj brought you in. Can I request you to be part of either the action group apartments, or if you love to work with children, maybe to work with the action group schools. And there is a third group which has been formed, and in the next 2 minutes, Vikas will speak about that. And Vikas is looking at how we can do what is called zero water discharge or water recovery, shall we say. A lot of people have talked about water recovery starting from Srinivas in the beginning. So would you want to join one of these groups and volunteer to bring some direction and leadership there?
Sure, sir. I would be very, very happy. It's like it's also a paying a kind of a tribute to my late husband, because he was very passionate about rainwater harvesting and he had a very good hand.
Wonderful.
So that's how I am continuing that.
Wonderful. Great sentiment.
Sorry, I'm getting little.
No, it's very nice. Very nice that you want to do this as a tribute to your husband. Very lovely thought. And therefore, we will connect with you and see how you can be one of the leaders in the action groups that we have got. Now, should I turn to, thank you, Mamta, for being there. Thank you for sharing.
My
such
pleasure.
candid
My
thoughts.
pleasure. And thanks to Mr. Vijay Raj.
Of course, Vijay Raj is a wonderful champion. He's quiet, but he does a lot of work. He's at the core. Yes. Let us listen, Mamta, to the others also as they speak.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Kevin Gonzalez, can I ask you to speak? Or do you don't want to speak? I'm okay if you don't want to speak. Before I go to Vikas, I thought I'll ask you. Kevin, you heard so many of them. What would you want to say? I know you're 21. Kevin? Okay. Vikas Brahmavar. Vikas is about maybe in his on the wrong side of the 30s. He came back to India some years ago. All that he worked as an IT professional, wasted his years, and then decided he will see how he can get into this area of water. He's been working in it for the last 10 years or so. His big challenge is what Srinivas talked about, and unfortunately for us, Vikas was not there when Srinivas talked about, and how people have a resistance or a mindset, or what Sukanya called a mental set, for drinking water that is so pure after treatment. That is what Srinivas is talking about. Let's hear Vikas speaking about it very briefly. I wish he had heard all the other children before speaking, but anyway, doesn't matter. Go on, Vikas. You tell us a little bit in a way that the children can see what it's about. This hour today, this entire session is only for children. And at the end of it, I'm going to ask them back again as to what they have learned or what we can learn from them. Go on.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Hari. I was a little late. I had a meeting, so it got extended. Sorry about that. I heard Sukanya speaking. So whenever we speak to children, we get really inspired, because when we were that age, we also felt that we'll do lots of things for the country, and over time, few people put us down, or government puts us down. So that keeps happening. So one thing, we get inspired with them because we see ourselves during their age. One thing I wanted to tell them is don't lose hope, because if these ideas needs to be taken to the next level, there are lots of various people like us in the industry who have seen lots of problems, tend to ignore few ideas because we feel it is not possible. but if they persist enough, it will still be possible. So don't lose hope. It's very inspiring. Keep moving on those lines. Second thing I wanted to talk was on water recovery. So I missed Mr. Srinivas's talk. So water recovery, every day, just give a number, every day around 200 crore liters just from 5,000 apartments just in Bangalore goes out as waste, which is equivalent to 13 lakes in a month. So that's a large volume of water which is currently completely untapped throughout India. So, and in any case, it is a good business case, it's a good environmental case. Just the mindset is an issue, but there is always a solution to look forward, and it is still possible. So I won't say it is not possible. It will take its time, but it will still be possible. So for this reason, we have this water recovery action group, and we are going to focus on recovering any water which is currently going out as waste.
Srinivas, I know you're listening to Vikas. Can you ask him, you said in the beginning that I need to go to apartments and convince them. What would you want to learn from Vikas as to how an apartment can be convinced of treating water and drinking it? Srinivas. Mr. Rao, is Srinivas there? Are we missing something there? Are they muted? I know they're there. Okay.
They have to unmute. Yeah, I think they were
unmuted. Yeah. Mr. Mohan Rao.
Yes, sir.
Can you get Srinivas to ask Vikas or to share with Vikas? It's not necessary that, I mean, he might know something that Vikas can learn from or we can learn from. Go on, Srinivas.
So my major idea for convincing the apartment people or the people who are staying there is to group them, sir. Basically, group them on Sundays because Sunday will be generally a holiday, and create an awareness. We have to show practical demonstration of models like how water can be saved, water can be treated and can be reused. We should give them different examples from past, sir, where water has been treated, and we should do some test so that we have to prove that the normal water and the treated water will be of the same quality. We have to do some minor tests, sir, so that they get convinced.
Because you have to respond. Because respond to Srinivas.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We have tried that. We have
why don't you have your video on so that he can also see you? Yeah, go.
Yeah. So, we have tried that. It's a good idea. We have tried that. We have grouped a few apartments here in Belandur. We took them to our project sites where we have installed our equipment. We made them drink the recycled water. They drank the recycled water and took it forward to their apartments. They took 20 liters of water samples in their cans to give it to their apartment association. They tried that water and all were healthy. And finally, when it comes to decision, so they have something called AGM. When it goes to decision, if there are 300 people, 295 people will agree, will be open. These 5 people will put their foot down, saying that they will put a case against the association bearers, and that takes the back seat. So this is where we are. It's a good idea for others also to try. We have tried this. These 5 people, if it is a logical problem to answer, then we could logically answer. But if it is reasons like I don't need to take it, I am religious and all that, then that is a problem which we are not able to address.
We got that. Satish Malya, I wish he is there. If he is there, he should be responding. Otherwise, in his place, maybe Suresh Pai can talk about it on behalf of the Action Group apartments.
Yes, actually, this is the problem in many of the apartments. As you rightly said earlier, that 95% of the people accept, and they accept whatever the proposals brought by the managing committee. A handful of few people resist, and is rightly said that they will go to the court. And this is where the good work stops. So this is the problem not only in 1 or 2 apartments, majority of the apartments, it happens.
Sure, Sukanya, your response
and that is a change in mindset is required. Yeah.
Sukanya,
so
both of them. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So what I would say is this nudge theory talks about sneaking in behavior. I mean, sneaking in changes in a very choice, in a very architectured way, so that they don't feel like they're forced to do something. Is there a way that these 5 people can be made open to try these recycled water in a way that it doesn't feel like we are imposing it to them? Is there a way to do that? For example, if we can show them that this water, this is a perfectly healthy water, that this is consumable water, is there a way to show them that actually, you don't need to worry about it?
Because will you give these 5 children, Srinivas and Arun and Pooja and others, a chance to come and see what you said you had shown somebody else at a visit, in a way that they come up with some strategic idea or whatever. Yeah, I believe they know better than us. Clearly, these youngsters know better than us. And I'm learning constantly from people like Sukanya, for instance. So I'm saying if there is a way, Vikas, you can give them an opportunity to come to you, and then they go to apartments. They go and see how they can bring change. See, adults are talking of problems all the time. Kids are talking all the time of prospects. That, I think, is the change that we need to see. Adults have to learn from this.
Can I say something in this?
Yes, please. Pradeep Pai, go on.
Sorry, I'm not Pradeep, I'm Satish. I'm using Pradeep's login. So.
Okay.
Satish from Bangalore Apartments Federation.
Okay, wonderful, Satish. Go on.
So I think Bangalore Apartments Federation as a group, as of today, is about some 920 apartments.
Correct.
Which represents almost about 2 lakh.
All that. Okay.
2 lakh, all that, you know that. So I would suggest that, we connect to the governing council of Bangalore Apartments Federation.
Okay.
We are always open to listening to anything that is sustainable, be it water conservation or rooftop solar and everything that we are doing and we are encouraging. So I would recommend, and if required, I can facilitate a meeting between the right parties so that you can do a presentation or talk or whatever needs to be done to create an awareness. At least you will get years from at least 900 plus apartments
Very
to look at this.
Can I recommend to you, because I know you represent a largish constituency even within this, in the north of Bangalore, etc. Can I request you to possibly set up a meeting in the following ways? Some of these youngsters like Srinivas or Pooja or Arun, whoever these people are, they become as part of a small group with people like Vikas also. Vikas himself is young. He's about 37, 40, whatever. So my point is that if the kids are also there in such a meeting, it transforms from being one miserable business meeting where transactions are talked about into a meeting that talks about change. What do you think, Satish?
Absolutely. If at all anybody has to drive the change, it has to be the kids. Because like I've been hearing, the mindset change will happen only when the kids are able to convince the generation. Because that is the only way forward for any change that has to happen in this country.
Very nice. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to you, Satish, for saying this. Mr. Rao, you and I have a commitment. Sorry, go on. Yes.
Can I interrupt, sir? Can I just put in a word?
Yes, Mamta.
See, I don't know how far it is okay, but I have been thinking.
Mamta, I have a complaint. You have to put on your video. We have not seen your face.
Yeah, okay, sure. I just came back from farmland. I had to dispatch some filters.
Okay,
and
sure.
I have I have put on.
Please.
I think there is some, okay, sir.
Sure.
I have put on.
Yeah,
See, the thing is, my suggestion is, I don't know how far I'm wrong. I'm told even the Kaveri water is all distilled and filtered and all that. Is there
70% of Kaveri water cannot be drunk. It is not potable.
So why can't we show that particular thing documented and shown to all the people? Everybody who's behind Kaveri water.
Satish, can you respond to that, please?
Yeah, that is a phenomenal idea. You need to tell people that Kaveri is not as safe as you think.
I will give you the report, Satish. I have reports of Kaveri water even as of last month, tested at some place for 39 parameters of water, declared non-potable Kaveri water.
And they can show the rainwater harvesting filtered. I'm drinking, sir. From 20 years we have been doing. It is a potable water.
That's okay. But you are an exception because of your husband you are drinking. But how do I get 1 crore people in Bangalore to do that? That is the challenge, not one person.
This is the only way, sir, to show them that how good is Kaveri water.
Mr. Mohan Rao, can you respond to what Satish said? That is, Satish is agreeing that he will give you some apartments where your children will go. Mr. Mohan Rao, video, please. Your video.
Yes.
Anjali, turn video to, yeah. Now, will you take up the challenge that Satish is offering? He's offering a great opportunity. He is, by the way, he is the head of the North Zone, which has got about 48 apartments, if I'm right. Satish will correct me.
Yeah, I held about 49 apartments in east of Bangalore, CB Raman Nagar.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
But I think I will give you access to the entire 920 through our governing council, because they will be able to, once they tell the apartment associations, we tend to go very confidently what the governing council says.
Wonderful. Can you expect anything more than this, Mr. Mohan Rao? You spoke to me 3 days ago. That requires an ovation. Thank you, Sanjay. I cannot thank you enough, Satish. Yes. Mr. Rao, no, I won't ask you. You are too old. You and I are not, we are only a statistic. Pooja, can you respond to what Satish sir is saying? Will you go and meet the governing council and tell them what it is about? After that, I'm going to ask Elena to speak, if Elena is there. I hope Elena is listening to us. Yes, Elena is there. Okay, first it will be Pooja to speak. If, let us say, Satish sir says he is going to fix a meeting with the governing council, will you then go to that meeting with a few others? There will be some experts like Vikas and others also. Will you go and convince them?
I'm sorry, sir, they're disconnected. I think they're having some.
Okay, we'll come back to them. Elena is too young. I can't ask them, but let them come back. I'm sure there is some challenge there. Who else can we ask? Kevin Gonzalez. Do you want to speak about this time? Are you there? You are 21, therefore I'm asking you. I know Ravi Kumar is there, but I don't want the older people to speak. Youngsters. Okay, they have not come back. Unfortunately, we lost them at a time when it was getting to be exciting. It's already 6:20. We have about 10, 12 minutes to go. What a wonderful meeting so far. It's been absolutely exciting. Yeah, there you are. There you are. Pooja, please speak up. You are now in front of, let us say, the governing council, which represents 930, 950 apartments and 2 lakh flat owners, says Satish sir. Will you go for that meeting if we invite you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There's no energy, sir. No energy, madam.
All together.
All of you will go?
Yes, sir.
See, one thing I will tell you, Satish sir knows, all the leaders here, they know this. All these solutions are very high on investment. That is, if somebody spends some money, they get that money back very quickly. That is sorted out. It's already clearly, demonstrated and established everywhere. However, like Suresh Pai sir said, like Satish sir was just now saying, the problem is somewhere there will be those 3-4 fellows, like Vikas was saying. 3-4 fellows will say, no, you can't do this. Your job, therefore, your mission, shall we say, when you go to the governing council meeting, is to convince the governing council. If you convince them, then all the other apartments will be convinced. One of you should speak. Arun, you want to speak about this? Or Srinivas, who wants to speak on your behalf? Srinivas, you want to speak? You want to convince Satish Kumar that you are the best person to go that day?
Yeah.
Srinivas, the camera has to turn to him. There you are. Yes, Srinivas.
Sir, we can,
no, please tell Satish sir whatever you want to say. He is willing to give you an opportunity to go to the governing council meeting.
Previously, as I said, we will show some examples. We will make everyone understand what this purpose is for. This is for the future generation and for ourselves. Because in future, we may not get a fresh water source. So we have to use this water, sir.
Sure.
So we have to,
sure.
No one, sir. So we have to convince, I will try to convince everyone there, sir. So that this plan can be implemented, sir.
Sure.
Sir, can I add to this? I mean, what he's saying. So if you can, rather than, I mean, awareness is very good in something. If you can horrify them about the situation coming, about the 10 years that is coming, if you can horrify, if you can put a picture that, in 10 years or something like that, you are going to face this. Don't create awareness. Don't create, you know, you are doing.
As an architect, as an urban planner, can you depict pictorially in infographics, some 2 or 3 of them, that picture of the dire crisis before Bangalore of 2030? Can you do that?
I mean, we can obviously project it. I mean, we can have obviously projective.
Can you share it with people like our Satish
Yes,
Pandya and
I
others?
can definitely work on it if that is
Wonderful,
necessary.
wonderful. You can take the help of some of these other youngsters also. I can connect you to them if necessary. Let's do that.
Absolutely, sir.
Yes. Elena, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You heard Satish uncle speak. He spoke nicely about how, you know, there may be a meeting of some very big people who sit there and they need to be convinced of how and why you should put an aerator or why you should have rainwater harvest and so on. What do you, if you are asked to come, of course you have to ask your mama, but what do you think you will say if you were in such a governing council or some meeting of some big people like that? What would you tell them?
Well, first I would tell them about the crisis definitely, because most of them know about it, but some of them don't. But some of them know about it, but they don't want to do anything about it. So first you have to tell them that. Then I would convince them to start telling other apartments to use aerators because it's needed to save water. And I would tell them that it has to be done because soon enough there won't be any water left here unless we start using aerators.
Sure.
So I would just want to say a line, just a quick line. As far as aerators is concerned, let me tell you, way back, almost 2 years back, Bangalore Apartments Federation had initiated this, and it is by and large being implemented in at least 30 to 40% of the apartments, because that was the first thing that Bangalore Apartments Federation did.
Satish,
The usage of aerators.
when we listen to a 14-year-old, you know what I picked from what she said just now? First, I will tell them of the crisis, she said. I think that's important. Solutions, you and I know as experts. I mean, you have worked with them for so long with all these apartments. You are a very experienced person. But those solutions are next. First, how do we tell them of the crisis? I think that is what I learned from what Elena De Silva is saying. Mr. Sitapati Rao.
Yes, sir. I've got one example. You know, the Japanese say a picture is worth more than 1,000 words, right? Now, I just give an example to make people understand the seriousness of the situation. It is said in the Mahabharata that in Arjun, as I think he is directed his arrow towards the ground and got water for Bhishma to drink, some water. So you should depict Arjuna trying to extract water from groundwater, and he doesn't get water. So you should say Arjuna cannot get water from ground anymore.
Sure. No, I know, absolutely.
Yeah, one more thing which I have, it has been bothering me a lot. See, there is a group called Jalanidhi in Akshay Nagar. I think you are aware of it.
Yeah, sure.
They have been doing a wonderful job. I have done a couple of apartments there. And
sure.
big apartments, I went personally and spent some hours together.
Sure.
And similar thing happened what this gentleman told. And, you know, the tail end did not come out.
Sure.
Okay. What I'm saying is, as a group in an apartment, first thing one can start is tapping the RO water, wastage from RO water. You know, I mean, I don't know what will be the volume of water we can save if we can start doing that, RO. It should be made compulsory and especially initiated by the architects to see that there is a RO when it is discharged, the wastewater is discharged, that is taken to a place where it is, you know, either put it in the ground, because ground, I believe, it will spoil the soil.
We got that. Mamta.
I think architects have solutions. I mean, I think architects have design solutions. For example, in terms of water closet, I mean, hand washing water is used to flush toilets and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I think architects does have provided solutions to that.
Suresh, do you want to speak?
Houses, yes, apartments, no.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if we can stick to the learning from children today, from the youngsters today. We have another maybe 2 or 3 minutes. We have actually we are done with the time. It's 6:30 now. But if there is somebody who wants to talk about what we learned today from the children, to me, the learning is that they are not willing to look at the problem. They don't know, if I were to do this as a solution, this is something I have to circumvent as an objection. They are not willing to look at that. They're clear in their head. Look at Elena saying, well, I will first tell them of the crisis. You know what she's saying? She's saying, why are you talking about money? Why are you talking about what kind of solution? Why are you talking about whether the solution is dependable or not? All that comes next. She's saying, first know how dire the crisis is. That is learning for me today. Anyone else who wants to say something about it before we close today? Very lovely listening. Yes, please.
After hearing these children's, I can, and I'm very much convinced that our future is in safe hands.
In a sense, yes. But then they are a minority. We all know that, not too many children are as good as these that we found today. Thanks to Mohan Rao, these youngsters have learned a lot in the last, say, 2-3 years. I'm not going into details today, but they have learned a lot on wastewater systems, on construction, many things they have learned from him. But or Elena and Dylan, like boys and girls. There are a few, but then we need to take this up at much more earnest levels with people. I think the challenge is us and not them. We are blocking them. We are not learning enough. We are willing to only be constrained by things. And the most delightful thing, and I must thank you again, Satish, for that. The most delightful thing that I heard is that he is going to set up a meeting with the governing council, no less, in a way that not solution providers, not some financial experts, but children will go and speak. We will plan for that. We will see how these children will go and talk themselves. Who are we to mentor them? We have to be mentored by them. That's all I will say. Unless somebody else wants to speak, we must close in the next 1 or 2 minutes because we don't want to take too much of your time. Anyone wants to speak at this point?
What is the next step for us?
We will get there. Come on. Steps are part of adult thinking. We'll come
here.
Sorry?
Yeah, this is wonderful session. Definitely, this has to be there at every home. Every citizen is responsible to take action.
Absolutely, absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Virendra.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm a chemical engineer. I work in IT firm, but I'm very much fascinated and want to work on environment, water conservation. So I want to do more like action-oriented work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Virendra, for speaking out. It's nice.
Yeah, I would like to speak to.
Suresh. Yes, please.
Yeah, I'm Suresh from Prakriya Foundation.
Yes.
I felt this session was great, and my belief is like those children that we should go ahead and do the implementation of things rather than thinking in terms of how much money will be spent and all. We should take the initiative straightforward and get things implemented. Implementation is delaying everywhere, and we are facing the problem with these issues.
Right.
So let's take the implementation forward step by step. That would be the most helpful thing we can do to save water.
I agree with you. I agree with you entirely. What you also wrote in the chat box is very, very true. No government can help. Finally, it has to be collective private action, citizen action. Without this, it will not happen. And I'm positive, I'm completely reassured, especially after listening to these kids today, that, to reach 1,000 crore liters, we already know we have about 400 crore or 450 crore liters of commitments from the action group schools and the action group apartments. Vikas is now looking at another segment, and he believes that he can also drive. He will bring in the right people. He will tell us. He will guide this as the chairperson for the third group. I'm very, very convinced with the support and the strength of all these children here, we will be taking it forward very, very well. Mr. Mohan Rao, yes, please. Go on. Please speak.
I just to convey to you that the Don Bosco School is in the area of I think we all will concentrate on the areas. If I think Kredai it was, So if they give us access to the apartments in that area, we will start working from home.
Sure.
From Kengeri, we will start working, and afterwards, we will join, other people will join us.
Right.
So start with assignment, we will start working from Kengeri. All
I
of
got
us are committed, and we will also bring.
I take that. Thank you. You preempted me. Wonderful.
Third and fourth will join.
Wonderful. Some people like Girish HR have come in a little late. Girish, you missed some very, very powerful, compelling stories today, but it doesn't matter. You will, a recording of this will be available on YouTube by Monday. Our team is working on it to see that it's hosted. We will see that this recording is sent to all of you on the mail database or some such thing. Unless anyone else has anything to say. Yes.
Mr. Suresh Prakash has raised his hand, so like maybe.
Thank you,
Maybe
Anjali.
could you speak?
Yeah, Suresh, do you want to speak? You have raised hands.
I have already spoken.
Oh,
Sir.
you have spoken. Thank you.
Sorry, I have to remove
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That's right. Anything else, Anjali, before we wrap up the session today?
No,
nothing.
That is it. Yes.
Actually, this has been a very, very delightful session. Usha, I know you are not well, and still you managed to come and stay here. As you wrote me, keeping yourself busy makes you better. Do you want to speak? Do you want to say something for about 30-40 seconds, Usha, before we close?
Every WOW session has had its own highlights, but I think this has really set the pace, and we just need to go ahead in leaps and bounds. I think the young minds have thought that, and
Abdul Kalam wrote, igniting our minds. Yeah.
yes, thank you all so much for that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much once again, all of you, especially the kids, Dylan and Elena first, the youngsters, then all of you here from Srinivas to Pooja to Arun, of course, Mohan sir, Sandhya, please come in and show your face so that we all know that you have been behind all of these things. Sandhya, are you there? Please come in so that all of us can see you also. There you are. And Sandhya has been behind all these things. She's been working with Mohan Rao. Wonderful girl, very committed to wanting to do. She's also an engineer. So she will drive all these things along with the rest. Thank you so much, all of you, for making this such a fantastic session, extremely exciting. And Satish Malya, I will come back to you. I will, see that we make that governing council meeting happen. Yeah.